Hello world, my name is Citizen and this is Bible Time Capsule, where we read the entire Bible from front to back on video for the first time ever. Today is July 12, 2013, and we are on chapter 12 of Exodus. Let's begin then. Chapter 12. The Passover Ritual Prescribed. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall stand at the head of your calendar. You shall reckon it for the first month of the year. Tell the whole community of Israel, on the 10th of this month, every one of your families must procure it for itself a lamb, one apiece for each household. If a family is too small for a whole lamb, it shall join the nearest household in procuring one, and shall share in the lamb in proportion to the number of the persons who partake of it. The lamb must be a year-old male without a blemish. You may take it from either the sheep or the goats. You shall keep it until the 14th day of this month, and then, with the whole assembly of Israel present, it shall be slaughtered during the evening twilight. They shall take some of its blood and apply it to the two doorposts and in the lintel of every house in which they partake of the lamb. That same night they shall eat its roasted flesh with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. It shall not be eaten raw or boiled, but roasted whole, with its head and shanks and inner organs. None of it must be kept beyond the next morning. Whatever is left over in the morning shall be burned up. This is how you are to eat it. With your loins girt, sandals on your feet, and your staff in hand, you shall eat like those who are in flight. It is the Passover of the Lord. For on this same night I will go through Egypt, striking down every firstborn of the land, both man and beast, and executing judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I, the Lord. But the blood will mark the houses where you are. Seeing the blood, I will pass over to you. Thus, when I strike the land of Egypt, no destructive blow will come upon you. This day shall be a memorial feast for you, which all your generations shall celebrate with pilgrimage to the Lord as a perpetual institution. For 7 days you must eat unleavened bread. From the very first day you shall have your houses clear of all leaven. Whoever eats leavened bread from the first day to the 7th shall be cut off from Israel. On the first day you shall hold a sacred assembly, and likewise on the 7th. On these days you shall not do any sort of work except to prepare the food that everyone prepare the food that everyone needs. Keep then this custom of the unleavened bread, since it was on this very day that I brought your ranks out of the land of Egypt. You must celebrate this day throughout your generations as a perpetual institution. From the evening of the 14th day of the first month until the evening of the 21st day of this month, you shall eat unleavened bread. For 7 days no leaven may be found in your houses. Anyone, be he a resident, alien, or a native, who eats leavened food shall be cut off from the community of Israel. Nothing leavened may you eat. Wherever you dwell, you may eat only unleavened bread. Moses called all the elders of Israel and said to them, "Go and procure lambs for your families and slaughter them as Passover victims. Then take a bunch of hyssop, and dipping it in the blood that is in the basin, sprinkle the lintel and then 2 doorposts with its blood. But none of you shall go outdoors until morning. For the Lord will go by, striking down the Egyptians. Seeing the blood on the lintel and the 2 doorposts, the Lord will pass over that door and not let the destroyer come into your house and strike you down. You shall observe this as a perpetual ordinance for yourselves and your descendants. Thus, You must also observe this rite when you have entered the land which the Lord will give you as he promised. When your children ask you, what does this rite of yours mean? You shall reply, this is the Passover sacrifice of the Lord who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt. When he struck down the Egyptians, he spared our houses. Then the people bowed down and worshiped, and the Israelites went and did as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. Next section. Death of the firstborn. At midnight the Lord slew every firstborn in the land of Egypt, from the firstborn of the Pharaoh on the throne to the firstborn of the prisoner in the dungeon, as well as the firstborn of the animals. Pharaoh arose in the night, he and all of his servants, and all the Egyptians, and there was loud wailing throughout Egypt, for there was not a house without its dead. Next section. Permission to depart. During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, leave my people at once, you and the Israelites with you. Go and worship the Lord as you said. Take your flocks too, and the herds as you demanded, and be gone, and you will be doing me a favor. The Egyptians likewise urged the people on to hasten their departure from the land. They thought that otherwise they would all die. The people therefore took their dough before it was leaven, in their kneading bowls, wrapped in their cloaks on their shoulders. The Israelites did as Moses had commanded. They asked the Egyptians for articles of silver and gold and for clothing. The Lord indeed had made the Egyptians so well disposed toward the people that they let them have whatever they asked for. Thus did they despoil the Egyptians. Alright, so that's the end of the first section of Exodus. The first section was the Israelites in Egypt. I think that's what it was titled. Yeah, that was section 1. The Israelites in Egypt. And this is section 2. Still a part of chapter 12. The Exodus from Egypt and the journey to Sinai. Now, in the first section under chapter 2, in chapter 12, is departure from Egypt. The Israelites set out from Ramses for Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, not counting the children. A crowd of mixed ancestry also went with them. Besides their livestock, very numerous flocks and herds, since the dough they had brought out of Egypt was not leaven. Hold on. We have a small disturbance. This is live, baby. Okay. A crowd of mixed ancestry. A crowd of mixed... Okay. A crowd of mixed ancestry also went with them. Besides their livestock, very numerous flocks and herds. Since the dough they had brought out of Egypt was not leavened, they baked it into unleavened loaves. They had been rushed out of Egypt and had no opportunity even to prepare food for the journey. The time the Israelites had stayed in Egypt was 430 years. At the end of 430 years, all the hosts of the Lord left the land of Egypt on this very date. This was a night of vigil for the Lord. As he led them out of the land of Egypt, so on this night, all the Israelites must keep a vigil for the Lord throughout their generations. Next section. Passover regulations. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, these are the regulations for Passover. No foreigner may partake of it. However, any slave who has been bought for money may partake of it, providing you have first circumcised him. But no transient alien or hired servant may partake of it. It must be eaten in one and in the same house. You may not take any of its flesh outside the house. You shall not break any of its bones. The whole community of Israel must keep this feast. If any aliens living among you wish to celebrate Passover of the Lord, all the males among them must first be circumcised, and then they may join in its observance just like the natives. But no man who is uncircumcised may partake of it. The law shall be the same for the resident alien as for the native. All the Israelites did just as the Lord had commanded Moses and Aaron. On that same day, the Lord brought the Israelites out of Egypt, company by company. That's the end of chapter 12 of Exodus. I am Citizen. This is Bible Time Capsule. Peace. I'm out.